Cruz is present. Claire Edelman Heath,
Present.
Anthony Garcia,
Chair, that Mr. Garcia will be here, but will be late. So let's record the time when he comes in.
Really?
Claire,
I would say that louder if he was here.
Yes. Commissioner Johnson won't be able to make it today.
thank you. Harlan McCord,
Present.
Matt McGrath,
Present.
Chris Barrow.
Here.
Reminders about upcoming events. Flagstaff 365 is where everything gets posted. And then they also send those great reminder email addresses. The second event is the FSO concert. The season starts back up after the Nutcracker and the break. Sorry, January 20th at 7:30. That's on a Saturday. If anybody wants to go, I can get you tickets. Remember that. It'd be lovely to see you in the audience. The next announcement, I think that's Janice.
It's just a reminder that we are having a work session presentation at City Council on Tuesday, January 23rd. Our focus is really kind of the impacts of our expanded outreach this year, and especially on its impact on the BIA grant program. We want to brag about it a little bit to City Council. Also, yeah, I think it's been a while since they've heard about the BIA grant program and all of, the wonderful projects that get done. We're also going to be presenting and revealing the new logo. Yeah, we'll have mugs and stickers and all sorts of swag for City Council. So
Great, thank you.
wait.
A reminder about FORD and the event for BPAC and grantees on Sunday, the 28th. Tea time is at 3 o'clock. Janet, do you have any updates about that event?
And we have 4 BIA grantees who've replied, and we put out another email to them that they can add a +1. We have 4 commissioners going. Councilmember Sweet will be attending as well. And I'll keep extending out invitations until we work in the 20 place. 20, we can have 20. Okay.
Thank you. And then number 5, do you want to make this one, Jana, just to provide context?
Right, so also another celebration of grantees, but here are, as you know, we have $400,000 and go out in arts and sciences grants to the nonprofits in Flagstaff. And this is a celebration of those who got both operating grants and project grants in the last year. And it's put on by Creative Flagstaff. But as part of that, there is going to be a panel discussion. I don't know the entire, topic floor, but it will, be this panorama meet and greet with the grantees, but there will also be a panel discussion as well. And that will actually be just a few days after the 4th. So it's on the 31st. I believe I sent calendar invitations to all BPAC members already.
And so BPAC is invited to the Sunday, the 28th, and then the Wednesday, the 31st meeting. And then the Tuesday, 23rd, City Council is an FYI. We can attend if we want to. Right. Okay, great. Thank you. Moving forward to public participation.
I received no comments prior to 3 o'clock. Did you, Mr.
I
Zanaka?
did not either.
Thank you. And then the approval of minutes. Did everybody have an opportunity to review the minutes from the last meeting? And are there any questions or comments? And if not, I'll entertain a motion to approve them as presented.
So moved.
Second. Thank you. It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of the last BPAC meeting as presented. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? The motion carries and the minutes are approved. Thank you. Moving forward to announcements.
So the first announcement is mine. As you know, we interviewed for the project administrator on December 8th, and as I said, really high quality candidates. We have salary aspects that we have to have some rulings on by HR. And both the timing of this at Christmas and as well as HR being short-staffed, they have lost staff members as well. That's not moving as fast as we hope. So I know you're expecting an announcement. I'm hoping it's going to be soon, but it has been bogged down with some of the HR, aspects that have to happen before an offer can be finalized.
Thank you.
And the next announcement, I just sent it out. I just wanted to say it was a very successful presentation to the Heritage Commission on the concept that you approved. Concept 1 of the Aspen niche. They didn't bat an eye at the great circle, so there was no questions. It went really smoothly. It went really well, and we're on a roll. We will be updating that stamped concrete to the broom brush. And I have notified our contractor, and they're in the process of updating that for us and getting us some final budget numbers.
Thank you.
So. And then finally, I have 2 more. I gotta stop dominating this section. I am looking for selection committee members for the regional plan. Now, Commissioner Garcia is already on it from the regional plan committee himself. So we're still not sure the exact direction we're going to pick the artist. We may actually be looking through the art that was already created for the art boxes as kind of a first step to make sure that, if there's something that pleases everybody from there, we may not be selecting an artist. So I'm not really sure to tell you what the workload is yet for this, but I imagine that it would be no more than three meetings, possibly only 1 or 2 meetings. So if you are interested, please email me. And then finally, I am going to update our work plan with all the activity in the second quarter, and it will go out via email like I did last time instead of a presentation.
Thank you. I don't have any announcements other than the one I already made regarding the symphony. Vice Chair, do you have any announcements?
Actually, it just occurred to me, I'd like to really encourage people, if the commission itself has not yet participated in the actual regional plan survey for scenario selection. There are only 269 people that have participated in that thus far, which means that each one of those people has a voice of about 300 people. And while I was impressed by the enthusiasm of the people at the meeting I was at, it was a very narrow demographic and not representative of Flagstaff as a whole. And so just encourage people who are already volunteering to go onto the regional plan website and participate in the scenario plan selection. It's really important that people who have some background in how the city works also influence this. I can't emphasize enough how much this is going to drive decision-making for the next 20 years. So get your voice in there.
Thank you. Anything else?
That's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Other commissioners, any announcements?
I have a brief announcement. It's more on the personal side, but just an update. I know everyone's been really supportive. I'm expecting my first baby. So next month I won't be in attendance because I will have a brand new baby. So I'll look forward to rejoining you in March. And also thanks to all for your support and patience, especially as I attended more remotely this last couple months. I'm looking forward to getting back and seeing you all in person.
Take care of
Great.
yourself,
Take care.
Claire.
Yeah, congratulations.
Oh, yeah,
Thank
please
you.
let us know.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know.
Absolutely.
As the little one responded to the strategic plan survey.
It's going to be his
You know,
first
you can
task.
get it
Yeah.
under the wire, Claire.
Moving forward to the action items. First up is the BIA grant, the historic Trail Ranch bench.
Okay, so today we have Eric Cruz. He's going to be presenting, and his colleague Randy Gray might be joining us online, quite possibly, but if not, Eric's got it covered. And as you all recall, in November, the historic train rail bench was provisionally approved, pending, of course, design approval. So a lot has happened since that initial presentation. And Eric is here today to provide some updates, not only on the designs, but also design modifications and other updates since we met in November.
Perfect. Hello, thanks for having me back. I'm Eric Cruz, local Flagstaff artist. Randy, unfortunately, partner in this, as well as Lee Hughes, they're both home sick, so better them not to be here for that.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome. Yeah. So we were asked to come up with a couple other designs. So I wanted to show those to you. And oh, it does work. So come over some new designs. We have new dimensions, and then we finalized the location of where it's going to go. So this was the original design, which is a metal backing on the back of it with cutouts for Flagstaff. So it kind of uses some different elements there. The outside and around is all made from train rail, 100-year-old from the area that Randy has accumulated over the years. So we were asked to do a couple other designs. So we did the train with the mountains in the background to give kind of a highlight of the railway that goes through Flagstaff. We were also asked to come up with some different kind of shapes. So this is just a design of train wheels. And then lastly, I can go slower if you go back even. This one, just different types of leaves in the Flagstaff area. That's kind of an idea of shapes.
If I can interject. Since November, we've met with staff at the visitor center to solicit their feedback. And about 2 weeks ago, I sent these designs to visitor center staff, and they routed through and said that they are partial to the two designs that feature the mountains. And that one, and then the one with the mountain that says Flagstaff. But again, they are open to design modifications, combining designs, etc. But I just wanted to let you know what the two designs that they're partial to.
Wasn't there also some changes in the design? The bench is going to be longer and there's going to be a divider.
Yes, Eric's going to talk about
Yeah,
it.
so the new dimensions, we've decided to make it 6 feet wide after looking at the location. Felt it would be better for the area. So that'll increase a little bit of the back and the front of it, but not a whole lot, just kind of stretches it out a bit. We added a design. So we're going to put a trail rail in the middle, so as it's used as a bench and not a sleeping area.
Was that yours or something that was requested?
Something that was requested. Yeah. We were going to offer pillows as well, just as a joke. So it'll tie in really nicely. It'll be something that, Randy and I have talked about it, but it'll come down and, just be a kind of a nice addition to it. It won't, be out of the ordinary. So we finalized the location. We're gonna do it. We've been accepted to put it in at the Flagstaff Visitor Center. Right there. And then right there. So it's a perfect spot. Even when we were there, Kristen and I were there, there was somebody sitting there. So it's a good spot. It really looks out on the railroad area. So I think it'll look really nice there. Questions?
Can you talk to us about, again, I'm sorry, I forgot, but what is the seat made of, the seat in the back?
So I'll go back to one of the. There. So that's gonna be cherry wood.
Okay.
So it'll be all finished really nice, and then a very high gloss finish on it so that it doesn't deteriorate in the weather. So both the back and the front. Most of the designs, whatever we decide, or you guys decide what's gonna happen, will have a metal element as well. So maybe the train will be made out of metal and it'll be embedded in the wood like that mountain, which you can kind of see how that would be metal, and then the Flagstaff cut out of the metal, and then it kind of embedded in the wood.
As the artist, do you have a favorite out of these three?
I like that one, the original one, just because it shows the peaks, which is important. I do like the second one. Oop. What did I do? I do like the second one as well with the train, especially because it's going to be at the train. But all of these are very doable, and I just think the first two kind of really show Flagstaff versus the shapes.
Any other questions or comments, folks?
I have a question. So what does the CVB have to do with this?
Well, we solicited feedback from them because it will be a project that's located at the visitor center. So we thought that their feedback was a critical component of moving forward with the project.
And you know, it's about the art. Do we have a selection panel for that?
This is this is a,
Okay.
you are yeah, we
Very
get
select.
provisional approval. And with the, vision as they come back and show when you can put images and. You can,
Okay, we're on the art, right?
yeah.
Going on one.
Yes, and so,
Like the,
question, is it, is
I like the
this?
train field. That's one that I like the most.
Okay.
Just because, and you've heard this argument from me before, if you don't already know that you're in Flagstaff. I don't think I need a bench to tell me, and the mountains are just right in the corner right there. But if you have an art piece, I think that having something that people have to have a visceral experience with is my connection to art. That's not everybody's connection. I think it's very CBD specific and eccentric, and great project for them. But that's my only feedback. Besides I do like the design with the train, the extra rail in the middle. I don't like that it was brought to you as so people wouldn't sleep there. But I do like the design overall, and I think that we should definitely keep that. I don't know how many people have been at the airport overnight, but they do the same thing at airport. It's just, on, you know, how you feel the next day when you can't sleep laying down.
Right. Totally understand, and it's not my.
Right. I like it.
Whether it's within your budget to combine, say, if the top was one of the more panoramic. And then the bottom had the, like the train wheels.
Absolutely. Yeah, we can, and as we've talked about this before, we can combine, add, or whatever. we just need to know what your feelings are and we can let's put that together. So that's, if you like the train and you want the wheels on the bench, on the seat itself, we can definitely do that. So.
Obviously, the divider, split a design is more,
Right.
meant to be. And I just will say that at this point, and once you guys finish your discussion, you can approve it, a very specific, or you can leave as much range as you want to open to final approval, whichever way you want to go.
So our options sort of just doubled, right? Because
Yes, I'm sorry.
more design.
Chairpersons, I'm very
By
sorry.
splitting the seat and the back.
I split the two ways, so.
Right.
That's right.
All the things.
So, we are supposed to have a motion and approve one or more of the designs, so we can settle on the design, or we can decide to give staff final approval.
Direction. If you want to eliminate some of them, do that.
I think that's probably the direction I would be most comfortable with, is just putting down that he's not that one
Okay.
conversation. I would like to eliminate the mountain train one from conversation. It's neither the mountain nor the train are focused. It's kind of a split composition. It's not very strong. I'm not sure that the train really reflects an accurate train. But like, it feels like it may be. I don't know where that was derived from. I actually agree with Anthony. I like the wheels the best. But I think if the visitor center is excited about the one with the mountain and the words, then, we need to honor their conversation. So I would just like to eliminate the one conversation if we could, and then maybe go with what visitor center is excited about.
Does anybody else want to eliminate one, and then we can maybe move to eliminate one or more designs and then sort of leave the rest up to?
I would like to ask the commission how they feel about eliminating the Flagstaff portion of the mountain scene, because I'm okay with the mountain scene. There's Flagstaff on this side of the building, there's Flagstaff on this side of the building.
I think-
Once you arrive in a train, they tell you, you are now in Flagstaff.
I mean, there's an opportunity for a more layered. Where like maybe we help somebody discover something that they don't know about Flagstaff, but that's, I guess, not where the visitor center wants to go with it. So we could just, I guess. It's, whether it's got the mountains in Flagstaff or just the mountains, I don't know if that's really gonna change it. And honestly, like, in my mind, if the Flagstaff's on there, at least you get some scale change in between like the mountain and the words. So you're creating like maybe a little bit more layer, like it's more sophisticated design at that point. I mean,
For lack of a better design.
for lack of a better conversation. Yes, the chain wheels, the one thing I was gonna ask was, let's make one really big one, and like get something locked in there.
Yeah.
Compositionally, like a little bit stronger, like,
Sure.
in terms of those things, so they're not all the same size.
Yeah, just randomly placed.
But at the same time, I think what's beautiful about this bench is the part where it's constructed out of frame rail. And if we get to moving up on the stuff that's on the back of the bench, then we're gonna make something that should be relatively straightforward and is kind of a beautiful, just frame rail piece. Happen. I mean, if they really wanted, honestly, like if the tourism commission or not the tourism commission, but the visitor center, if they really wanted this to be an Instagrammable piece, they would come up with something new. It's like, I think we had talked briefly about res dogs or something at one point, because you had that really cool dog one. I loved that one.
Thank you.
And something where like if they sat there, there was like something that was gonna appear in the photo that would change the character of the photo they were taking, but this is not gonna change the character of the
I mean,
photo.
I agree with everything that Anthony said about like they're right on the building above you. It says Flagstaff, and if you go 20 feet to the left, you can look at the actual peaks. The only thing I'm wondering is, and I know it's not the most exciting design, but like Instagram will like, people will sit on the, like leaning on the, off the rails to get the flags,
They will.
to get the photo of that in between them.
Yeah.
And then maybe that's the value of it.
Maybe that's the,
Like, none of us would probably do that, but a lot of people will.
they might.
And maybe that's the value. Maybe that's what
And they
folks
probably won't if we take it off.
at the visitor center are looking for.
I really respect that, that input on the conversation for sure. And it's not really a but and or maybe it's not even an and, it's really a but. I just
It can be
wanna say
and
a
but.
Yeah. The CV, the visitor center, they, have some real generic art, and this is really curtailing to their generic art.
Yep.
And if we were part of that organization, I would be all for it, because that's what we would be doing, but we're part of the arts.
But you know what's funny is if I was a part of that organization, I wouldn't be for it. I mean, in terms of genericizing that art, because that happens in mountain communities all over the world. You know, and they genericize their art and they genericize their art, and then all of a sudden you have a Starbucks across from a Starbucks.
Yeah.
And, you know, but that's such a broader conversation than this poor bench. I don't wanna wrap this poor bench into like a theoretical conversation about how to create nuanced art and.
Right, but at the same time, we also don't want every department in the city coming to us and being like, can we just use your money
No.
and your.
Exactly what we want.
But this was the same commentary that I had, when we did the planters.
True.
You know, and like the planters were something where I felt like we could come up with 5 or 6 things that maybe represented a deeper character from our community. That visitors could discover something deeper about Flagstaff and create layers and nuance that would bring people back.
Yeah.
You know, but they say Route 66, they say, you know,
Obvious.
they say a lot of things that people know about Flagstaff and
They look cool.
they're fine.
Yeah, they look all right.
They're okay, but
Okay.
it is something we have to be conscious of. That's what we tried to-
Good luck.
I like the idea of eliminating rather than trying to decide on the
I
design.
think so too.
Chris and Claire, did you guys have any comments?
It's good. Okay. So,
I like doing it. But more importantly, I don't want to micromanage it. Eric, I think all of them are fine. They're all beautiful.
I think the one with the Flagstaff in the mountains is the one that's gonna serve the visitor center best, honestly, for what they're looking for.
So why don't we just have a motion that says that the visitors will, but sort of, that we're fine with any of the 4 designs?
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve this, and I'm comfortable with any of the designs that the artist thinks is best in that area.
Yeah.
I really want the artist to put their vision into it.
Yep. I'll second that.
Thank you. So it's been moved and seconded to approve all 4 designs and for the final decision to be left up to the artist. All in favor, say aye.
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 Hi.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? The motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Wonderful
Thank you.
teamwork. Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay,
Thank you. So Jenna, next, on the agenda is the 2 from items on agenda.
Yes, this is a bit of a housekeeping motion, mission. We have not really been using the 2 from on the agenda. It's just kind of something that we read through. I think this was, actually added, to as agenda items following kind of a practice of city council. And it was also a place where things could, you know, information could be given, but then there couldn't be any discussion. I just found that we, as a group, have really moved more towards using events and announcements. And we never use this section, and so it's kind of just getting redundant to go through it every month, so staff doesn't have a strong recommendation here by any means, but it would be housekeeping just to eliminate it from the agenda.
Miranda, does this remove your opportunity to give us information?
It does, but if I have something to add at the end of the meeting, I'm happy to do that and just say, hey, I've got something to.
We can also put under announcements, we can put from council liaison, and I can ask that, we can ask her up there and include it, above.
I'll make a motion to approve the removal of the 2 from items on future agendas.
I'm second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded to remove the 2 from items on the agenda
That will start next month. It has to be here this month.
starting in February. All in favor, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Anyone abstained? The motion carries. Thank you. The next is the letter of support to council.
Right, at the end of the retreat, I believe Commissioner McGrath reminded staff about, when we were gonna get training as far as what can be done in support of the BB ordinance renewal. And I got some clarification from the city clerk's office. We have to wait for city council to actually approve it for the ballot before the city clerk's office will come and give that instruction. That has not yet occurred. But they said what you could do right now is to write a letter of support from the commission to place the BBB ordinance renewal on the ballot. So if you want to take that step, we would need a writer and we'd need a motion for you guys to write that letter of support. But once city council, and I will monitor this, does that motion, I will get the city clerk in at the next available commission meeting to instruct you on the do's and don'ts.
They're already going to put it on the ballot though, right? Like with or without a letter of support.
I think so. I think there's a timeline that we need to do it.
It has to be done before they recess it in June. But I'm just going to be doing it before that. Until they do it, nobody can 100% say, but it's looking strong. So so the letter of support right now may not mean too much. But it's up to you.
Or at all if they're going to do it anyway.
Does anybody want to write it?
I'm more interested in convincing people to vote for it than convincing council to put it on the ballot. So I don't see your need for it.
We don't regret that later.
We have the 26th opportunity as well. We're just trying to get out from over here.
Okay, so
There's no motion coming forward.
there's no motion. Thank you. Moving forward to the discussion items.
Okay. Let's, first of all, the first discussion item is for me to just recap our votes and their actual budget impacts. As you know, in March, we'll be getting that kind of spreadsheet with all the budget numbers in there. But I just, for this, wanted to go over you how what we already discussed, what we already prioritized, will be put into that spreadsheet. So first of all, under reoccurring projects, the beautification and action grants, we have already set in the system $85,000 for FY25. We are going to consider raising up the total possible grant amount to $7,000 with artisan labor fees up to $3,000, as we discussed in the retreat. So that's what will be put in for that. Rate of Flagstaff. This is a little bit up in the air. This is what we, for FY24, those pass-through grant amounts were 400,000, plus we did 200,000 in one time in project grants. And then the administrative fee for that was 15%. Then for leadership, we had $40,000 reoccurring. and $10,000 in one time. We do anticipate, that, you know, that is going to be matched, if not increased for FY 25, but we don't have those numbers yet. There's a lot of discussion that's going into this, and we discussed that at the retreat. We do know though that BPAC has already approved, at the December meeting, $50,000 for Art X. That, you know, will be reflected. But, I'll have the numbers that go into that budget in February, for Creative Flagstaff, but I don't have them now. Oh, no. It was working, and now it's not. There you go. Our flowers contract, you know, this is also kind of an annual thing. There's some slight increases. It's gone up about $15,000 a contract, but we are adding more hanging baskets onto Birch. So we'll have 8 more baskets. So that's basically, you know, what's covered by the increase. I also noticed that the holiday decorations came in a little bit more than what was previously. We had 12,000 in, they cost 15,000, so I'm gonna go ahead and put in 15,000 next year for that. Basically, we have an educational outreach budget for $54,000. It will just be repeated. We're not gonna be increasing this. The reoccurring projects as far as the utility cabinets, we are going to increase this amount because we have discussed some different locations, including that Portland Loo, which I don't really know. I have to guess because I don't really know how many square feet it is as far as the vinyl wrap is concerned. But we are going to do up to 7 locations, including the Portland Loo. We did 5 last year, so that just automatically increases the budget. So we'll be putting in $24,000 for that instead of 15. And even though it hasn't launched yet, our multicultural park exhibition is a, you know, exhibition that is going to be an annual event for at least 3 years. Our FY, we had putting in 125,000 for FY 25, and that's about 25,000 a spot. We have contracted for about 95,000, but we just did it until October, but we're gonna ask all the artists if we can keep it later, and we're gonna add $5,000 more to each one, so we'll bring it up to 125,000. This one, we're just carrying over, so there's no new money being budgeted. We'll just carry over what hasn't been spent in this fiscal year. Hopefully that will be completed in the next fiscal year, next April. Lone Tree Overpass. This, we have $750,000 budgeted for FY 24, and we're going to need another additional $750,000 in FY 25. This is our biggie. It is a lot of cement. And I am going to ask that we increase the budget for the South Side Murdoch, which, as you know, we have 5 finalists who've been very patiently waiting for a site visit to make proposals, but I think we're going to be moving the location from that center tree with all the water line problems to a bigger area, and we're going to require landscaping for that. They're going to tear out all that juniper. Juniper's been causing a lot of problems, and so they're tearing it all out. So something new will need to be put in along with the sculptural element. And so because of that reason, because there's going to be additional landscaping and it's a bigger area, I would like to increase the budget to 75,000.
What a cool opportunity to do something as beautiful as the library though, landscaping wise.
Yeah, not the Murdoch Center.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's neat.
No, I think so. And it gets us out of a lot of the issues with the water line that goes through there.
I'm glad we won't be removing that tree as well. That's nice.
Yeah, we were never going to.
Yeah, no, but you know what? I'm glad it's out of the question.
Right, it's out of the question. Nobody,
Yeah.
well, you're putting art there. I was gonna make the artist work around the tree. I was like, hey, restrictions spark creativity.
It sounds-
They really do.
sounds like
But
it's been really
I'm liking this, but it does mean it will be more Brandon facing than Butler. But I think that's okay. It's gonna be it's a small, it's an intimate pedestrian experience. It's not gonna ever be a drive-by experience. So I'm really happy about this direction. So want to do that. Switzer Canyon also, because traffic has kind of alerted them through this process about why wasn't there a mound? Because it's kind of in the national standards to have a mound on circles. Well, and they said, you know what? There should be a mound. So guess who's, we're gonna add it as part of our, but you know what? I think it will actually help the way we construct the whole hardscape, you know, for the sculptural element. So I'm doing this with all the roundabouts. You'll see it with 4th Street and Lockett. So I'm increasing the budget. Also, we are getting back capital project manager to help the staff time, but they do charge us. They charge our department but that's what we had on the library entry. I will be grateful for their help. They've had staffing issues. They had to withdraw a person and now they've added them back in. So really excited about that. And let's see. Oh, yes, there's no new budget for this. Surveying the arts and sciences. We have funding available still in Liza's contract. Liza Kretzman is our consultant and we don't need any new funding. And then what you voted on. And so there's your top 3 for FY25 4th Street and Lockett Mosaic, 4th Street and Lockett Roundabout, and the Wedge. And this is what I put in. I put in $100,000 in new project money. Not it total. It was already in the plan at 88,000. I'm just bumping it up just a tad. I don't know that we're gonna actually need it all, but I want to be safe rather than sorry. The 4th Street Roundabout, again, $450,000, just like Switzer Canyon. And then the Wedge. We're going to budget, this is obviously a new project, that wasn't a year plan, but we're gonna do 50,000 for design for FY25. And then up to 400,000 in FY26, but we will know more from the design what the actual cost will be.
I have a question about the 4th Street and Lockett Roundabout. Is there a timeline for that? I can't remember what that was.
It is the roundabout's supposed to be completed next November. I won't be going any time after it's completed. So we can get started. I've again talked to capital projects. They told me we can do Schweitzer's. They can start in February in Schweitzer and they can start in the fall on this roundabout.
And they are, I mean, they're currently in progress on the house that had to be demoed. There are now 5 traffic boxes in that lot.
Yeah, there will be traffic signal cameras in the future.
Yeah.
The reason for my question is I'm wondering if traffic is gonna pay for the mound on this one.
I think that it's already budgeted.
Okay,
It's
for
already,
us.
no, for
Oh,
them.
okay,
No.
so they realized that they are.
We go to Butler and 4th Street in your neighborhood, I will ask that the amount be paid in their budget.
Okay.
But these are already budgeted, so. Route 66 landscaping, again, I do have a capital project manager. So I went right from our discussions to a meeting with Trevor. And so they will also give us that in the fall. So we will have them. They will pretty much lead this process like they did at Fanning. But these budgets, I don't know how long they've been in there, but they're way under. We know that Fanning came in at what was it, about 275,000, Dave? Yeah, now this isn't as big, quite as big of an area, but I'm, but combined, I've just, gonna put in 175,000 each. For those. And we have already, we don't need any new budget. We have $50,000. I took all of your comments and we're going to see if, not involve too much staff time. See if we did more research, but contact the artist, if it could just be repainted and stay in place. And that would be a pretty much a normal routine maintenance sort of thing to do. And we have the budget for that. And the indoor art program would pretty much nixed as something that staff is going to program. If in that discussion with Creative Flagstaff, though, that we find a way that the Coconino Center for the Art wants to open up a satellite office and it's a part of the Creative Flagstaff, I guess we're gonna technically have an indoor art program that way, but nothing the staff is going to curate or be involved with. And there's $3,000 that's just renewed every year for this, and I'm gonna keep it. It's so low. Because if city council asks me to hang some art or somebody asks me for that, I have a line item to take it for, but it's nothing that we're gonna program. Per your guys' comments. So for FY26, the year after, got really clear direction from you all at the retreat that the Aspen Alley cut metal canopy and the 4th Street and I-17 were the clear directed ones. Then it was kind of tied between the city lawn and the east side streetscape, maybe like pole replacement. And I'm going to discuss those a little bit further as we get into them, because they do require other departments to be involved. And that's something that can happen. One of them might raise in priority and fill in that 3rd spot. I just don't know which one of them it's going to be. But let's just look at the alley initiative. We have $180,000 already in the budget. I'm going to go ahead and raise that to 250,000. Actually, we had 180 plus 50 in 2 different line items, and I'm going to combine them to 250. That's an increase of $20,000. This does again need Public Works to do some of the alley improvements, so it needs to happen. So those are the conversations we're having this year. There's already $300,000 budgeted for this project. At this point, I'm not going to increase it. I think that will be adequate. Next year, as we get closer and capital projects gets involved, they indicate we need more money, we can take it up next year.
On the bridge, does that face all 4 directions?
What do you mean face off?
We're going to have the highway going on 2 stretches, right? And
it crosses both east and west
Yeah.
traffic.
so are we doing it on just the side where the traffic's headed towards, or where the traffic has gone from?
Doing it on the whole stretch of this fencing.
But it comes in 2 different sections, right? You've got the eastbound lanes and the westbound lanes that go over different sections of go under different sections of the bridge.
No, the bridge is straight.
Right,
No, he's talking about the freeway.
yeah, freeway goes under it.
It's not
What you're implying is that you could cut your budget by only decorating the part that people can see as the driver.
I'm not suggesting that. I want to actually make sure we don't do that.
Yeah, no, they're not suggesting. Okay, that makes sense.
I don't think it's been designed. The infrastructure's in place for it to be all for.
But does your budget include? I'm not asking my question clearly.
No, I understand what you're saying, and I'm just trying to remember exactly, because there's already the part that goes over the railroad, and that's already been complete. But all this type of fencing that you're seeing will be included.
both sides, all sides, every part of the bridge.
Okay.
Yes. Just having trouble envisioning, You know, I don't know why this picture is cut off. It was like I was trying to figure that out.
Yeah, the picture is cut off. You're only seeing half the picture.
Yeah. Like, but it goes over both sides, and so the fence extends over both sides. So yes,
Okay.
it's one continuous fence when you're
It is, but not to a motorist.
right. The motorist on Fourth Street it is.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
not to the millions who drive by on the freeway.
Right. And that's gonna be an interesting decision, whether which side of the fence gets the most, because each, you know, it has two sides outwards and.
Right,
inwards,
yeah.
right? Yeah. So it might not be enough budget, but we can increase that one next year. Again, there's a $250,000 already in FY 27 for this. Your discussion points were to look at the east-west instead of Fourth Street, basically on, you know, Lockett Cedar. And very well may look at that as an alternative or as a starting point, as point one for new light poles. Again, we need streets to come in and do the light poles, so we need a partner. But also I did hear a lot about, you know, maybe we should wait for something better. So I kind of want to explore, keep the money, keep it in, you know, in FY 27, and let's see if a better project emerges. But I want to investigate that east-west to see if maybe that's a more model area to get started.
Jan, on this project here, I talked to some Sunnyside residents about what we have in mind. And they were curious if it would be possible for the city to have like an entryway, you know, some sort of signage or something beautiful that says welcome to Sunnyside or that type of thing too. It's just.
Do you need a Fourth Street Lockett? Because we have the gateway at Highway 66 already.
That says Fourth Street.
Yeah.
But it doesn't say anything about Sunnyside. These people were specifically asking about the Sunnyside neighborhood. I
Mhm.
thought this might be another option or something to look at. It was from their mouth to yours.
Okay. But right now, I'm planning on keeping the budget kind of just in place. And then the city hall lawn again, the kite will sail. When city council pushes, the bigger project and the edges of the Rio project have been finalized. I think this group is very excited to do this project, but that was what where our discussion landed. We have 350,000 in FY 25. Right now, I'm gonna put it out to FY 27. We can move it back to FY 26 if it becomes a priority for that year. And then the schoolyard grants, I'm just gonna work with sustainability to write the guidelines. You know, if we can implement it this year, the budget really isn't, it's $20,000. I can just take it out of future projects for the first year if we get it done. If not, it'll fall into the next fiscal year. And that's it. So that's for the budgets, for what you guys prioritize for the next 2 years. Landed. Is there any, think some of the projects need any more money or any less money? Just, I know you're not, capital project experts, but, is there a feeling about any of them that you'd like?
I think that you made some really intelligent additions to the budget.
Yeah.
Seems pretty thoughtful.
I heard Commissioner Barrels to make sure that we have both sides. I'll look at that budget one more time, see if we need to increase it to make sure that we incorporate the entire funds. So if you see that increased when it comes back to you in March, that's why. And we'll have another opportunity for that one because we have another fiscal year to work on it.
It does seem to me I've driven through places and they've only done half of it. That seems like they've only done half of it.
Yeah, okay. Well, we'll make sure that doesn't happen.
This particular bridge, it already seems to me like it has a mountainscape based on the different colors that were used
Only
to,
half of it has the mountainscape.
is it only half? I never
So
go under it, I always
already-
go over it.
Me too, but yeah, it's got half, it's got a mountainscape on half of it. I think it's the north side.
Okay.
Where's that?
I need it.
No, I think it's pine cones on both sides.
Yeah, I thought it was.
I don't see the pine cones because I'm on the bridge, but the mountainscape you can see
The
from.
mount, we're talking about the Fourth Street Bridge, not
Oh,
not the not the
walking-
Lone Tree Overpass. The Lone Tree Overpass has pine needles and pine cones, but we're talking about the Fourth Street Bridge. It looks like they use different colors of wires in putting up the fence, right? We're talking about the same thing. And so the different colors of wires that they use makes it already look like a mountainscape on the Fourth Street Bridge. Drive over it during the day and you'll see it.
Over the, so Michael's talking about the over the train tracks and what we're talking about.
Yeah, that part, the train tracks are, that's.
No, it's the highway,
It's
the
over
highway.
the highway heading westbound.
right? Yeah.
Oh, boy. I stay at my brother's, but now I'm gonna really have to like,
Yeah.
make sure I got it all.
I was here for the design. I don't remember any of that, but yeah.
I want to go check.
I gotta go drive it on the way home.
How many of us pass over the bridge every day?
Okay, so our next discussion, is there any more discussion on?
Thank you for all the work that you guys have put into this. It's appreciated.
Yeah, it's really reasonable, money a lot, that's just for inflation, for sure.
Then we ran out of time at our retreat on our out year projects. And this was more of a discussion of, defining projects and, was there any ones that maybe should go away? And so we'll kind of discuss these slide by slide. Again, we can track aspirational ideas, within the future projects. We don't have to have them have a separate line item in a specific year. We can, always, upon request, initiate discussions and invite needed partners. And so part of our review is it a project or is it just a concept? And is there enough buy-in from needed partners for it to exist as a separate line item in the 5-year plan? And we already discussed Buffalo Park and Buffalo Sculpture and the 4th Street improvements.
Can we go back to the roundabout? Where are we on designs for those?
I haven't really checked in yet with, for the roundabouts, we go in afterwards. I'm not really sure capital projects in it have, because I think they have not yet decided if there's 1 or 2 roundabouts yet. So design isn't finished. And we're not really enjoying those design team meetings because, I don't really want to have a say in whether there's 1 or 2 roundabouts.
No, but it's this roundabout and the other roundabout, the Switzer Canyon roundabout.
Mhm.
Yeah, in my mentality, such as it is some days, when you get to your next slide, I'd kind of like to see those look like they belong together.
This is Butler and Forest
I
Street.
understand.
Okay.
I want to see Butler and Fourth Street, whether it's 1 or 2, and Switzer Canyon look like they're part of the same arc.
And Fourth and Lockett, I remember that one too.
There you go.
There's potentially 4 roundabouts.
So this is perhaps part of your common thread.
Right.
Concept. So expand on that.
We've all had the discussion about a common thread, but I think while we weren't it was not unanimous that we wanted all projects to do that. We all thought that would be appropriate for some project to do that. And I think the series of roundabouts falls into that.
I would argue strongly against that. And the reason I would argue strongly against it is because these are opportunities for individual neighborhoods to create personality for themselves. in particular on the east side, just because I'm a little more familiar with that one, but I know I was on the committee for the one for Schweitzer as well. Those neighborhoods have pretty strong opinions about what represents them, and it is not unified. And so, you know, when you're talking about the single largest public arts package to ever be released on the east side and then telling people they have to comply with an overall city vibe, I would want to be really careful with that because you're removing an opportunity for that neighborhood to define itself.
I think I'm modifying that opportunity because I value the individualism, but I think these roundabouts provide a real opportunity for Flagstaff to be Flagstaff. Right? So.
Chris, I was just wondering, so what did you have in mind? Like one single artist? Did you want a color theme? And I ask because when we drive around Sedona, the two roundabouts that I think about, I think that might be the only two that are there. The other ones I just don't notice. They are thematically similar, color wise, they're similar, product wise, they're similar, but the art is very different. And I like that.
Yeah, and maybe that's it. And maybe that's where the individual neighborhoods, maybe we've taken to using this metallic, what's the correct word for it, Janet?
Or 10.
Right, so that tends to be a lot of the medium that we use. And then maybe what the art is driven by the neighborhoods. So it is both an individual thing, but it also covers a Flagstaff thing.
I mean, maybe if it's like a concept, like each neighborhood gets to define a character that represents that neighborhood. So maybe, you know, Schweitzer can't,
You get to reuse.
what?
We get to reuse the buffalo, just move it.
Oh, I think we should recreate it too.
Buffaloes?
Yes. All kind of buffaloes. No, but what I want to say is like, you know, like if each neighborhood picked, and I'm so just throwing this out there, but like an animal or a character or a thing that was representative of that neighborhood, I could get behind something like that, but I want to be real cautious about eliminating the Schweitzer folks, man. I mean, I was completely not in line with those folks as far as like what I thought would be cool there. They had such clear opinions about what they wanted in their neighborhood. And as a overall community representative, I would have done a poor job of selecting something for them.
So I guess, you know, I want to understand clearly because I have to implement any direction given by the commission. Is how, in a way, it differs from the parameters of the public art process as it exists, which always says that it has to take in account the environment which it's in, which is one of the reasons part-time gets chosen by default so much. Now, not exclusively. You know, we've seen these pops of color, right? You know, but, you know, and it is in our guidelines and it's in how people judge it and give it to them in their criteria that cites specificity, which includes both the neighborhood and the city, as something that they take into consideration. And so how would we supplement that to get, you know, you know, because if I say it has to be core 10, you know, or it had, you know, and now we're talking sculpture. So, you know, they can't do bronze. You know, and, you know, bronze, you know, could be, you know, so I, every time if I restrict it to a specific material, I could be excluding, you know, a material that would be completely appropriate and completely fit in. I guess I've always seen, and I'll just say this is my advocacy, that the public art process produces site-specific art for a city.
Yeah.
But unless you want to, you know, I mean, there are certain things like Route 66 shields and other things that, you know, are somewhat of a different character, though. They're not exactly art, they're beautification, but they're not.
Janet,
We do like a Route
I
66.
really need to understand on how to communicate to artists.
Janet, I have an idea. So when you talk about the mound, are we just talking about a dirt mound, or is there gonna be like a platform style thing? Because maybe that could be the common thread, is how we platform it.
Right, now that could be, because it's interesting, because we have the opportunity to start to affect that, because in some ways we're in charge.
I think that that's probably the more important start, is just what the platform looks like, maybe the boundary around it, how high it is, the kind of stones that are used, your Route 66, whatever you want to put in there. That will be the common thread, and the art on top of that could vary, but you all will be on the selection panel, most likely, or some of you will be. So I don't want to discredit what you have come forward, Chris, because your idea is very relevant.
I think also landscaping, like if we landscape around, you know, you could have a common theme with landscaping and then.
Yeah,
But-
I like those.
right, unfortunately, no, it has to be completely hardscape. And we have gotten complete direction of no landscape.
But the hardscape could be.
But the hardscape, and I hadn't thought of that, but yes, a certain kind of.
A
You know.
salamander and rocks.
Sure.
Yes.
Even if there was
Same sort of base.
coriander
Ties them together.
badging on four sides that Chris
No,
approves
yeah,
of or something.
right. It has to be nullified.
Or whatever, yeah.
I think
Layers of canyons around.
your guide, our guidelines have a saying that both the city is important and the individual neighborhoods are important. And I completely agree with that. I think that the roundabouts, I would like more of an emphasis on what ties the city together. And whether it's the mound or the hardscaping around it, I kind of envision that all the neighborhoods from all these different places where the roundabouts are coming, get them all together and say, well, what would you agree that would be common? And then what would you like to do that would be different? This is a long process I give you, but I think if you started, you could come up with something that achieves both the local neighborhood and starts to unify the city.
I agree that coming up with some landscaping or some sort of like base for these things that's unified could be a really nice way to do that. My primary caution is that these are gonna be really unique opportunities for representing or non-representational, potentially, large scale sculpture, and BPAC almost never has an opportunity to do that kind of thing. It's potential we could get really creative representing these neighborhoods with what they see in themselves. You know, and like when you think about like the difference between like the Fourth and Lockett one, which is next to a bunch of schools, kids. And then you think about the one in Schweitzer, which has homeowners, but also a hospice. You know, and the difference in what you're representing there, and then Fourth and Butler, which is gonna be, I mean, that one's crazy. I haven't even really thought through what that represents, but I mean, we've got like retirement homes, we've got a bunch of new housing, we've got the animal shelter. There's a lot of stuff there, and so those neighborhoods are so unique. And I just wanna make sure that we enable those neighborhoods to really take advantage of the BBB funding that, you know, they help to produce and all these other things to create something unique in their space. You know, we talk a lot about the opportunities to bring art into neighborhoods that don't usually see it. And like Fourth and Butler is a really great example. And I would hate to genericize that. That's the thing I want to avoid is the Starbucks across from the Starbucks.
Agreed. Oh, yeah.
So.
That I can think of. All right, so right now, I'm gonna see if there's a common element that I can make for the roundabouts that will both satisfy uniqueness, but also create something. I do think it's interesting to think of a platform as the thing.
One of the things that you've done brilliantly, Jan, is you created a process that allows for not just opinions from us, but from opinions from committees and neighborhoods and all of those things. Focus groups. And I think the idea of getting all the people who live near all these four roundabouts together and saying, what can we do that artistically unifies Flagstaff and at the same time drives your neighborhood, so that all four pieces of art are not the same, but they look like they belong together.
Of course, I'm not really ready to go to Fourth Street for 3 years.
Right.
So, we have a tiny problem. They were all finished. It would be really easy to do. It's not really, it would be hard to engage people for something that's 3 years away.
And another thing, from my experience watching the public process pan out, I think the only thing that Jenna could do in that situation would be like an open call meeting. And, you know, we all know how those end up turning out as far as, you know, participation.
You've already got feedback for the Schweitzer Canyon art project, right?
Yes, we've had lots, right? Yeah. So it's not that, I mean, we haven't started the projects. It's not like we couldn't go back. We have had a lot.
That was a pretty interesting and diverse group.
Oh, it was. And it was a very large group. And it's one of the bigger ones that we've had. In fact, we have so many people wanting to be on the selection panel, we don't have room for them. So very interested, as you say, an engaged neighborhood. It was surprising.
It was a surprise.
It was surprising. And I will, you know, tip my hat to our former project administrator, Susan Harderman, who really helped identify neighbors to bring to the table. Really good job. Okay, the downtown mile. I just wanted to let you know that there's really only one project in our plan, and that is the North Edge Milton. And that's that little funky pork chop as you try to make that left, right, to get into City Hall if you come around the corner. And that's gonna be redone, and it's gonna be enlarged. It's gonna be a much safer turn and all of that. So we already wanted to improve the landscaping in that section. And, you know, but we're not in general part of the design of the downtown mile. We don't have any other, you know, projects. I'm just going to move North Edge to FY28. But we have had, as you know, through our communications and through our discussions with the landscape architect who's on that project, she allowed us to have a focus group for, you know, the train underpass. We have not yet seen any designs that have come out of that, but we will continue. And anytime there's an opportunity, it will be there. But we've been precluded from adding an artist to the design team. But we do have that one project, and I keep looking for opportunities to include our process. And really, they've been open to it, very much open to it. So
I promise this question isn't to add things, but I was just curious, because I don't remember, if you could remind me what the conversation was for the Foots underpass next to this building that goes over in the downtown mile, because there's also that
that's part of the Rio.
as part of the Rio, but there's no beautification funding.
We have tons of beautification funding for the Rio, just looking for places to land.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
I don't. Absolutely. I have like 500,000 a year for like 3 years. That's just like, well, what's the project? But yes. And actually, one of our, yeah, totally, you know, obviously Commissioner Edelman Heath of Norris Design is working on some of the stages of that. And we've actually, in that capacity, been working on some things for the Rio itself and some of the concrete that's going in. So
Jenna, can I
it's
ask-
happening here and there.
Can I ask you really quick? You seem to think that we wouldn't be able to spend that money. Do you have a fear of that?
No, I'm just not sure where it's going to be spent.
Okay, we'll keep our fingers crossed.
Yes, absolutely. No, Jeremy DeGator, Capital Projects, anytime, he's been very good about coming back to us. We were talking about fencing for along the Rio that's going under the lone tree, enhancing that fencing. That may be where a significant amount of money goes to, instead of it being chain link. You know, it's going right under our lone tree overpass, and he came to me. So I mean, we're in the conversations. They think of us, they come to us. And so it's like, yeah, I could be spending a lot of money on fencing, but it will really help beautify. Yeah. So yeah, I don't think we're gonna have a problem spending the money. I just don't know exactly where it's gonna land.
It's funny because it just occurred to me the other day as I was driving through downtown Sedona and I was looking again at their street divider project that they did, and I was like, that's safety fencing. That's exactly what that is. So, I mean, that's for traffic. It's to stop people from crossing the
I
street.
think one of the discussions is can we find a standard?
Yeah, well, I guess that's my point is they found a standard for what they needed. So I think it's a nice way to point at the possibilities.
Yeah, because if we can find a standard and then we can, it's like, yes, you started my line item. And, but we need to then, it could then be a standard for the whole city.
That would be supportive.
Safety advisor. There's our uniform. Actually, there's a lot of merit to that.
No,
Think about
there's-
that chamber,
there's-
the Siler Homes.
There's huge. That's where there's huge. If we could find a standard safety fence that was not chain link, that the city would just pull from and then come to us and ask us for enhanced budgeting, that would be a win.
Can we hoist Jana on our shoulders and mark?
That's a good point, but mentioning here about Sedona, and it's just slightly off topic, a couple slides back, but when it comes to, maybe we need to put money aside for this as well. We talk about the roundabouts that are, they're on Butler, or is that Butler? Yeah, Butler. But we don't talk about the way the city is planning to divide that road and from stopping trucks and other traffic from crossing it. That could be an opportunity for that exact same idea.
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunity, I think, if we can create a city standard. And the city standard is so powerful because then people will just start implementing it. And Jana's right. I mean, then they're just like, hey, I want some of your money for our fences because they can pull it out of their budgets. They'll love it.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
we
really
have to be
smart.
careful.
Yes,
You
no,
know,
I get.
we have to be careful that they don't start just designing projects without any budget for fencing whatsoever. And we have to guard against that.
But for being our cautionary voice.
Yeah.
But it's a great idea.
But I think we're so
What we get paid on.
we're so far away from that I don't feel, what our problem now is they just throw up chain link and we don't get consulted, we don't get incorporated. So I think that we're far away from that problem, but it is something we have to guard against. So now the footstep sculptures, this was basically really in FY 26. We had identified 4 potential, locations. We really don't have a project schedule. It's gotten some support, not high support, not low support, kind of somewhere in the medium. I'm going to put it in FY 25. We will have discussions starting on 2 gifts, one of which wants to use one of these locations. Whether or not that's the best idea or not is something we're going to be, taking up. But right now, this project, we have sculpture going in at the, for the multicultural park sculpture exhibition. We're going to have sculpture in the roundabouts. I'm not sure that we, need to tackle this one right away, but we do have gifts where this is going to come up, and I just kind of wanted to give you a heads up on that.
We could also move the airport claim to just one of these trailhead.
Oh, yes. The airport. That could be the back of Foxland Park as you go off on the trails. And now everybody will think that forest is gonna go.
But not the airport.
Not the airport. We gotta get them painted blue. That's really clean.
And then they'll worry about floods.
So, we have again, I'm just gonna push this out a year. It's in FY 27. It really it's not traction. This still though has upper management support. It really can't disappear. I don't know where, there really haven't been strong discussions of where it's gonna be. When, maybe, one day it will find, I think if it finds a location, it will, that'll move it off of its kind of just, let's push it back 1 year. The Milton Butler drainage, this very ugly thing that we were not able to do. But I want to keep it this is one like, I'm gonna be arguing to get rid of some. This is one I want to keep because I think things that happen with the downtown mile could maybe make this project come back alive. So I'm just pushing it, I just push it out to FY28. We're gonna let it sit the 5-year.
It's also a spot that's just aching for some art in there.
Well, this is that's a major landscaping project. Yeah. That happened. Why is it, I'm going backwards on this and it's going forward. You bet me off.
Down.
Okay, there we go. All right. Now, this is one I recommend removing as a separate project. So it's a concept, there are certain projects, like they're going to do complete streets on Butler Avenue. They have grant funding. Can we try to become, part of that project? Haven't really asked yet. We can think about that, but this is $25,000 scale. That's what, we put in there. Don't have anything to attach it to. I guess I could ask if it could be part of the complete streets and to see if there's any chance of beautification, but to me, this is incorporated in other capital projects. Like when we did the Lone Tree Overpass, our artist was part of all the conversations, making sure that all the bike and pedestrian safety and amenities got put into the project. So to me, this isn't a separate project. It's a concept that should go into all the projects, so that's just, it's in it's their current 5-year plan for FY25. And I don't really see it as a project. I see it just as a concept to keep in mind when we do all projects.
I was gonna say, is this an opportunity to take what happens at Lone Tree and then, per Chris's suggestion, like create some of the things that we learned and make for Lone Tree and incorporate them in other parts of the city?
I mean, that's,
Create that
the main
language.
thing is that, it's just they put it in a landscaping medium. And then, but we had, of course, we made these lovely form liners on the pedestrian side as well as on the, the outside. It's just that we are trying to make sure that it's a pleasant experience.
I sort of see this as a project in terms of improving what we already have, right? Like I get your point about including it in all future projects. It should just be a part of the project. Yes, absolutely. But as a separate project here, then it seems like we might do something with the existing bike lanes, right? The existing infrastructure. How can we beautify and make improvements to what we already have?
So I'm really happy that you guys all brought these things up because during those meetings, that's exactly what this is for. And I think it was born from that little man that was put onto the foots and it was to be expanded. So that way we have more of Chris's idea, which is art pieces on the foots and trails.
But this is safety nut.
Yeah, I think this also came up after the
Because
fatal crash.
Right. It came up after the accident.
Yeah, this is related.
This came up after the fatal crash.
Yeah, that could be.
I mean,
that could make
we
it up
are
to-
putting in bike racks at Aspen Niche, increasing. Yeah, it's just, it seems to me that we're tuned into it as a concept. I'm just really struggling what the separate project is.
Well, you could beautify the bike lane that's on Butler between like Ponderosa and NAU. I mean, it's just like these white plastic pylon things.
That whole thing is gonna be complete streets.
Yeah, that's all gonna be.
Oh, that's
done
fine.
in complete streets, yeah.
They just got that huge grant. They're gonna do all kinds of cool stuff with it.
Yeah.
Good job, Metro Plan.
We won't need any money to beautify them.
Nice take.
Yeah, no, so Yeah,
So you want this removed?
yeah, as a project, not as a concept. Alright. What is going on? This is the next one, right? Playground beautification. I want to keep this in the plan for basically Ponderosa Park. If, you know, the kind of flood control aspects get done and the city's ready to go, I will rename it at that time. But since I know there's a project that could possibly emerge, I want to go ahead and keep it because it's a possibility that we would be doing playground beautification. So I'll just put it out to FY 27. If Ponderosa Park ends up not being a playground beautification project and we have none on the horizon, I'll recommend it be removed at that time.
So can I just make a quick point, really quick? So, Commission, when you gotta understand, like, when some of these ideas were placed into the budget, there was no idea besides like a notion or just an idea that we were gonna have. They didn't have a specific project. So I just encourage you all in the future to step outside of yourself and say, we need this, even though the staff is gonna be like, what are you talking about? We have no place for that. But we didn't have no place for this either. It was just a concept given to us by Sandra, I think, for her own idea, but it fits perfectly into what has come into a new park in Ponderosa now. That's all.
Thank you, Commissioner. But as I pointed out, we have different ways now to capture concepts and keep them alive without putting a project line item in a 5-year budget plan.
Yeah, I get it. I get that staff and the commission has changed the dynamic. But what I'm saying is we're looking at things on the budget now and making decisions for them. One of them is the 4th Street project, $250,000, whatever. This one and the Rio project that we didn't have, that we had the commission bringing it forward, and that's okay too. All I'm saying.
The Habitat for Humanity parcel, I do have some specificity that has come about. I had a conversation with the lead of Habitat. This is like the plan that has been put in, and it's not, you know, I know there was talk, is it playground beautification? Is it some kind of civic space? What is, they have submitted for their plans is a community garden, and which I've circled in the green, kind of near the entryway. This is 4 to 5 years out. But that's within our 5-year plan. And I just said, okay, we're gonna just make this a great community garden with a sign and everything else. It is city land. So I'm just budgeting $100,000 in FY 28.
What are they fundraising for? Are they gonna support the,
Fundraising?
for the houses, or they're gonna support the garden as well? It says community garden,
Oh,
Habitat
you know,
fundraising.
I forgot to admit that their plans, their plans aren't submitted, but they're up to submit them.
Okay.
I just forgot to update that from last year. My apologies, chair groups. Yeah, I think to make these plans, they needed to do.
Oh,
And actually, I noticed that Carl Everhart actually drew up these plans. So anyway, that's a little bit of history. Yeah. So La Plaza Vieja Park. I have had meetings with parks. This is not happening. There've already been improvements to the adjacent park. This land, which is basically, it's just kind of this area right here. It's kind of already used for a little market. Parks has no intention of doing anything. It's not in their 5-year plan. It's not in their 10-year plan. They are a needed partner. And like I said, there's a park that's catty corner. There's already a park over here that's not shown. And it's improvements. And so Park said, we're not doing anything. We don't know why this is in your plan. So I don't know, those other improvements probably weren't done. So I am asking that we remove this one.
What was the inspiration behind putting it on to begin with?
Well, again, it was a different dynamic back then where a commission took a stand and said, we want this for our community.
I think we want improvements in, La Plaza Vieja, I think. Am I wrong?
Yeah, no.
Okay,
It
and,
was
and,
the
and,
lawn
and,
park,
so
that's
let's,
the only place we could find that the city owned.
But if we still do, there's nothing wrong with that impetus, if we still do.
Yeah, yeah, and I don't see anything wrong with taking it off. Yeah. This day.
this park, I guess there's not, the parks is not gonna do any more improvements to this area. So we don't have a partner. And everything we would do in that area would need their cooperation and permission.
That was when we missed the target for sure.
Look at piece. This is actually a favorite of your staff member here. I know I probably love it more than anybody else, but it's something that is, not got, a lot of impetus to happen right away. We do have a location, this corner of the park. We were kind of hoping that they were going to extend the Foots Trail down to this end. It is in the plans, but it's not imminently happening. I would guess it's probably about 8 years out. That would be my guess. But it is still we would consider it to be an educational, interactive piece for a corner of the park. So at this point, we're just gonna bump it out and bump out its adjacent Saturn Gates abutment artwork. Again, this would be only if the trails link them two together. And then the Route 66 monuments. Most of these have been done. There's a few that have not been done.
I think we hit them all.
We did, a couple couldn't be done because there was problems with them. And we didn't have the land. But I think that again, with the McAllister Ranch, there is a possibility now. And then also, I suppose the downtown mile, may make something possibly happen, probably not. I think McAllister Ranch, it has a separate, funding source. It could be that Route 66 beside McAllister Ranch just kind of goes away because we'll have traffic signal cabinets on 66. They have separate funding. We could put this line item to vet. Mr.
I
McIntyre.
know I should have sat at the table if I was gonna try to interject, and I apologize for that. But I know that pretty much all the ones that we have good access to the property rights or that engineering came out as possible without ADOT like completely changing their stance on stuff have been completed here. And you're completely right that McAllister Ranch still has funding, but that really is a separate thing from the Route 66 deal. So at least in my head, we accomplished what we could on this picture.
Right.
There's nothing left.
Yeah.
In the original plan that
Right, we.
Which is kind of cool.
This switch to the shields, basically, we're gonna complete this, we put the shields on at Fanning because that sandstone, we really couldn't do that. And then we're gonna complete any other Foots Trail, we're gonna just add those shields. We've got the design, we're just gonna add them. So, yeah, I think that's, once I do those shields, I think we're done.
I mean, I think there's one of the conversations that we're gonna have at the end of the month with ADOT is about being able to use their traffic signal cabinets. APS is starting to say that we can use some of theirs. So I can picture additional work along Route 66, but it'll be separate projects that come to you or parts of the Centennial or things like that that aren't from Mark DeLucido's original plan as depicted by the mayor back then.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean, like.
Well, it looks like you're wanting to kill it, but at the bottom it says keep as is discussion. Is that what that
So
says?
that's for the McAllister Ranch.
Oh, so you would.
McAllister
Yeah,
Ranch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just put that over in the McAllister Ranch funding and then.
Yes,
eliminate
and it already has, that. It is separate funding.
That would
Makes
actually.
sense to pull it off the plan to me.
Mhm.
I mean, 'cause
I think we should,
any 66 and 26 stuff is gonna end up being separate anyway.
yeah, cabinets will come to you as cabinets, Centennial Project will come to you as Centennial Project.
Good work. Good job.
That's it?
Mission
Well
complete.
done.
I did a little dance when those final monuments were built, I have to say, I was like, all right, I know.
Does that make you happy, Chris? Oh, 6, right down 66.
So,
There's some value to that. Yes,
Yeah.
I smiled.
so, I'll be, there's what I call, there's a few other budget items. Like creative Flagstaff, like maybe doing artist workshops, those sorts of things that aren't capital projects, like mostly I covered capital projects here. Those types of things I'll discuss with you in February, and then we'll have the final budget to vote on in March. And so hopefully, when I present it to you in March, you're like, oh yeah, I remember that, it will all make sense, and last year went very smoothly, so hopefully that won't happen again. But I always invite your questions.
Thank you. So moving forward to the to from items.
This is a really important thing to have on the agenda.
Let's utilize it for one time, and one time only. Let's spend the next, how much more time do we have?
Let's do it.
We have an hour. We can sit here for 1 hour and just really get to know each other. I have nothing.
Staff, do you have anything? Yeah, staff? I don't have anything as chair. City council liaison.
I don't have anything. We've been on break. Excited to get back. Tomorrow's our first meeting. So,
And commission. What about requests for future agenda items? But do you have anything? You came on camera.
No, I was just taking myself off camera during the presentation because I think it can be distracting.
Oh, okay. So no request for future agenda items from anyone. Then the next BPAC meeting is February 12th, 24. Same place, and I'll adjourn the meeting at 5:38. Thank you, everybody, for coming.
Thank you. Yeah.
Chris, I think I figured out
think so.
what it is I speak about. The standardization. I think it's really important.